Hi guys, happy Friday. Alright, we're gonna go into a little bit of, I know, it's completely screwed up my nose, so, not the ring, but yes, everything in my head. Roman mythology, gods, myths, and stories, so we're gonna just kind of jump into that and see where that takes us. So just a little bit of background information. Alright, so the Roman mythology is obviously, this is from the Mystica.com, amazing stuff, so is made up of many traditional stories related to the history and religion of ancient Rome. So, many of the stories are represented as visual art and literature from ancient Rome, right up to the modern day works. So the Greek religions and myths also had some influence on Roman mythology and stories from Greek mythology. Ouch, that hurt. Were often retold in Roman mythology using the names of the Roman gods. So the Roman mythology was more focused on humans with the occasional deity intervention, usually related to destiny. So we all know that. You guys can remember back to history class. Yeah. So some of the main sources of the knowledge we have of Roman mythology today comes from Vergil's Aeneid, Dionysius's Roman Antiquities. Ooh, I like that. And Ovid's Fasti, Propertius's Elegies, and the first few books of Livy's history. Other sources include paintings, sculptures, and reliefs. Reliefs? Wall paintings and even coins. Alright, so that's basic behind the Roman mythology right there. Very basic. So the founding of Rome, so obviously. Alright, now one myth that is related to the founding of Rome is the tale of how the Trojan prince Aeneas, is it Aeneas or Aeneas? Aeneas arrived in Italy after fleeing the sacked city of Troy. They have some interesting adventures and eventually make landfall in an area southwest of where Rome stands today. So Aeneas marries Lavinia, King Latunas's daughter, and this starts a war. So as she had been engaged to Turnus prior to Aeneas' arrival, Turnus is killed by Aeneas, and Aeneas' line forms the start of the Alban kings. Okay, there we go. So from this line, Numitor is born, who is eventually Rhea Silva's father. Rhea Silva is forced to become a Vestal Virgin. Oh, Vestal, I love that word. A Vestal Virgin priestess, but is eventually the mother to Romulus and Remus, and that is where Lupercalia comes from. Romulus and Remus. So, the most famous story related to the founding of Rome was the story of Romulus and Remus, the twins brought up by a wolf. So they were said to be the sons of Rhea Silva, and either the hero Hercules, a demigod, or the war god of Mars. So they were abandoned, raised by a wolf, and eventually found and tamed by a shepherd. Now, as adults, they killed their great uncle, who had ordered them killed as infants, so they decided to establish a city, Rome, but had a fight, and Remus was killed by Romulus. It's so interesting, but we already know that story, so, but it is still amazing. I love Lupercalia. I love everything to do with it. I think it's incredible. It's amazing. So, now the gods and goddesses. Now, the original gods were Mars, Jupiter, and Corneus, as well as Janus and Vesta. Vesta. So Mars and Cyrenius was later replaced by Juno and Minerva. Many of the other gods and goddesses were given rites and rituals based on daily life, with them being invoked or given offerings to bring success, the carrying out of duties. So this was clearly seen in the specific gods and goddesses being honored for particular tasks, such as Circe to assign good grain growth, Janus to guard doors and gates, Vesta to guard the hearth and family, Pomona watched over the growth of fruit, Saturn was called upon when sowing seed, Pales took care of the pasture, while Ops and Consus were called upon during harvesting. I love that. So the main god Jupiter, I love Jupiter too. Oh my god, I do. was often honored to improve rains over the fields. So Mars was the god of war originally, while Quirinus looked after the military during times of peace. So Faunus was the god of nature and also a protector of the crops. So in this comes from the word fauna. So Juturna was the goddess of water and springs, although each water source also had its own specific deity, such as Tiberius, who was the god of the Tiber River. Now we have the new gods. I like the old ones. I like that. I think that's amazing. So as the Romans were exposed to new cultures and new religions, they often incorporated many of the gods, goddesses, and heroes of the conquered neighbors and settled into their own religions. So these included gods such as Venus, Minerva, Diana, the tales of Hercules and Castor and Pollux. Sibyl was a cult object that was also incorporated into Roman religion, although looked upon with disapproval by many of the religious leaders, of course. So, the Romans, who also used to use ceremonies inviting their enemies' gods to take up residence in Rome to shift the balance of power. Slaves in foreign communities in Rome also brought with them their own gods, such as Myrthas, who were very popular among the Roman military. That is really interesting. I love that. I love the whole idea of bringing the enemy's gods to you and, sending them after you. It's counterattack. Different. So we have myths. So here's just a little snippet of myths before we really get into the articles, which will be tomorrow. So many of the myths and legends of early Rome were actually based on historical facts, and that is true, such as the rape of the Sabine women, which details how the Sabines were involved in some of the early formation of the Roman culture, as well as showing the propensity of war and alliances being used to grow the new Roman Empire. Numa Pompilius took over as a ruler of Rome after Romulus was said to have had a relationship with a nymph, Egeria, as well as being counseled by the Muses. Numa Pompilius is said to be the founder of many of the religious and legal institutions in Rome. Now, Servius Tullius, who was the 6th king of Rome, was said to have been a lover of the goddess Fortuna, and is credited with building temples to Diana and Fortuna. So her features in many myths and legends of the time period, including one claiming his mother was impregnated by a disembodied phallus, potentially belonging to the god Vulcan or the god Lar. Many other myths of the times also tell tales of morality, divine intervention, and the importance of heroism and valor. That definitely goes back to the ancient Egyptians with the whole entire being impregnated with a phallus. Isis, yes. So, alright, now the myth of Horatius Cocles focuses on his bravery, along with 2 other officers, when he allowed his own troops to pass while holding off the enemy and preventing them from crossing the bridge. He remained there, shielded by the slain, until the bight of the bridge had been broken up by his troops, preventing further crossing, and then jumped into the river with his armaments, and by divine intervention swam across and excited the river. So, without having lost any of his weaponry, the tale is one of heroism and protection from the gods. So, Gaius Mucius Scaevola is a myth about a young Roman who volunteers as an assassin sent to kill an invading Clusian king known as Lars Porsena. He was captured and demonstrates his bravery by burning his right hand in a fire without showing fear or pain. Ouch. Impressed, Porsena released the youngster and later sued for peace with Rome. So, the myth is possibly based on the fact and is told to demonstrate bravery under Durnes. So, during the Gallic siege of Rome, Marcus Manlius held the Roman citadel for months. So, along with a small garrison, with the rest of the city was while the rest of the city was evacuated. The myth tells of him being awoken by his geese when the Gauls attack and killing the first assailants. Marcus Manilius, whatever, was also involved in the social reform and lost his life due to his outspoken nature. He spoke against the Senate and corruption. Wow, that's interesting. So, Roman myths such as these embellish truths and half-truths to tell tales of aspiration, inspiration, divine intervention, and warnings. So that's basically, yeah, tell tales. Alright, so now in this section we're going to go over Roman mythologies, gods, goddesses, and mythological beings described in the encyclopedia. So we do have a lot to go through. So we have, we've already done, what did we do? We did Juno, Jupiter, I think we did Minerva, and I think that's it. So we will actually go on to finish this tomorrow. Yes, I do love that. I love the Romulus and Remus and all of that, how that actually came to be, and I just think it's pretty amazing. So, pretty interesting stuff. Very interesting. So, but alright guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. Don't go anywhere. Stay home. Yeah, don't get sick. I love you all the way from Venus all the way back down. And I love you all. On Patreon, I have updated, this morning I updated all of the tiers. Inactive patrons and the ones that did not pay and got everything are banned. So, I love you guys. And everybody have a great weekend. Try to. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.